The familiar atmosphere of a local eatery, the type where patrons recognize one another, hummed with typical midday activity, yet today carried an unusual tension. Seated in a secluded corner was an aging gentleman wearing a weathered leather coat and sporting a lengthy silver beard, dining in solitude. Near his table, 3 young people lingered with mischievous grins. Suddenly, one youth grabbed his beverage and erupted in laughter. The older gentleman exhaled wearily, appearing accustomed to such mistreatment. Across the establishment, a server observed the scene with growing anger, her hands forming fists. She had witnessed enough. This server, Emily, had been employed at the restaurant for more than 12 months. She was familiar with the regular customers, their preferences, their histories. The elderly patron, called Gus, was among these regulars. Weekly visits, consistent politeness, generous gratuities despite his shabby attire, but today, these adolescents had chosen him as their victim. Emily watched as Gus dropped his eyes while the teens snickered. The tall youth wearing a backwards baseball cap moved closer. "What's the matter, elderly fellow? Lost your voice?" he taunted. A second boy stole a French fry from Gus's dish and consumed it. The third member, a girl with vivid blue locks, retrieved her mobile device and began filming. "Speak up for the recording, old-timer," she ridiculed. Emily's anger intensified. Fellow diners observed the harassment but remained motionless. None wished to become involved. Meanwhile, Gus maintained his silence, palms flat on the surface, jaw tight. He had likely endured far worse throughout his years. Emily inhaled deeply and strode forward. "Stop," she commanded sharply. The teenagers became still. "Leave this man alone immediately." The capped boy sneered dismissively. "Calm down, miss. We're merely enjoying ourselves." Emily stood firm. "This isn't entertainment, sure. Tormenting a patron. Depart now, or I'll ensure your removal." The girl holding the phone scoffed. "And what exactly will you do? Contact law enforcement?" Emily leaned forward slightly. "Perhaps I'll summon my supervisor and have you permanently barred from this establishment. Or maybe I'll contact your guardians. I'm certain they'd appreciate viewing this recording you're creating." The girl's confident expression wavered as she lowered her device. The capped youth rolled his eyes but retreated. "Fine, this establishment is terrible anyway." As they prepared to exit, the boy seized Gus's drink and poured it across his lap. The frigid liquid saturated his faded denim. The teens exploded with mirth before departing. Gus sighed and reached for napkins. Emily swiftly obtained a fresh cloth from the service area and offered it to him. "I deeply apologize for their behavior," she said. Gus managed a weary smile. "You're not responsible, young lady. Some individuals simply lack manners." Emily's jaw clenched. Such treatment was unacceptable. "Are you unharmed?" Gus affirmed with a nod. "I've endured worse circumstances." He gently touched her arm. "You possess courage, defending an old motorcyclist like myself. Few would demonstrate such bravery." Before Emily could reply, a voice summoned from the rear. "Emily, my office now." Her stomach sank. Manager Mr. Reynolds stood in the doorframe, arms folded, expression unreadable. She gave Gus an apologetic glance before following. Her supervisor to the back. Inside the office, Reynolds closed the door and faced her. "What were you considering?" Emily appeared confused. "I was safeguarding a customer." Reynolds shook his head. "You were intimidating patrons. Those children have parents who frequent this establishment weekly. We cannot risk losing revenue over such matters." Her chest constricted. "So you're suggesting I should have permitted their bullying?" Reynolds exhaled, massaging his temples. "I'm indicating you should have allowed me to address it." Emily's hands formed fists. "But you failed to address it," too simply observed. His expression hardened. "That's sufficient. Surrender your apron. Your employment here is terminated." Her breathing stopped. "Wait, you're dismissing me?" Reynolds confirmed with a nod, effective at once. Emily's pulse raced as she stared at him incredulously. She had been a dedicated employee, punctual, reliable in covering shifts, courteous to customers. Now, for acting righteously, She was being expelled. Humiliation stung as she removed her apron and placed it on his desk. Without additional words, she turned and departed, hands trembling as she re-entered the dining area. Gus remained there, observing her with worried eyes. "What occurred?" inquired. Emily forced a small smile despite her burning eyes. "I was just terminated." Gus's jaw tightened, but before he could respond, Emily gave him a reassuring nod. "It's acceptable. I'll manage somehow." She exited the diner, cold air striking her face as the door closed behind her. What she remained unaware of was that within 2 hours, her existence would transform completely. Emily sat in her vehicle, gripping the steering wheel. Her heart continued racing. Dismissed just like that for doing what was right. The injustice burned within her. She wiped her eyes, took a deep breath, and attempted to compose herself. She needed to determine her next steps. Rent was approaching. She couldn't afford unemployment. Her phone chimed with a message from her closest friend, Lisa. "Hey, want to spend time together later?" Emily stared at the screen momentarily before responding. "Got fired? Not really in the mood?" Almost instantly, Lisa replied, "Are you serious? I'm coming over." Emily sighed. She valued Lisa's support, but presently she desired solitude. Before she could set her phone aside, someone tapped on her window. She startled, then turned to see Gus standing outside her car. His weathered face appeared more serious than before. She lowered the window. "Are you all right, kid?" he asked. Emily forced a small smile, not particularly. Gus nodded as if he understood. "I didn't intend to cause you difficulties. I'm grateful for your actions in there. Most people would have ignored the situation." Emily shrugged. "It was simply the correct thing to do." Gus studied her momentarily, then without speaking, reached into his jacket and retrieved a card. He handed it to her. "If you ever require assistance, contact this number," he said. Emily examined the card. It was plain just a phone number written in bold black ink. It's no name, no business, merely a number. She frowned. "What is this?" Gus smiled slightly. "A lifeline." Before she could inquire further, he patted the car door and walked away, his heavy boots echoing against the pavement. Emily watched him depart, then glanced at the card again. She shook her head and tossed it onto the passenger seat. Currently, she needed to focus on securing another job. She drove home, mind racing. How would she explain this to her landlord or her mother, who already worried about her? Perhaps she could obtain shifts at the grocery store. Maybe her thoughts were interrupted by the sound of motorcycles, loud, multiple engines roaring. In the distance, she glanced in her rear-view mirror. Her stomach dropped. A swarm of motorcycles, at least 50, maybe more, was traveling down the main street. Their headlights pierced through the evening light, engines rumbling like thunder, and they were headed directly toward the diner. Emily pulled into her apartment complex and exited, still staring in shock. She could hear the deep growl of their bikes even from this distance. Her phone buzzed again, a message from Lisa. "Emily, check Facebook now." Frowning, Emily opened the application. Her feed was flooded with a video. The one the girl with blue hair had been recording, showed everything. Gus sitting alone, the teenager's harassment, Emily intervening fearlessly and refusing to retreat, then her manager dismissing her. The caption read, "Waitress defends elderly veteran, gets fired for it." This is wrong. Emily's heart pounded as she read the comments. This is disgusting. Who owns this diner? They need to answer for this. We stand with Emily. Someone give her a job. Where is this place? Let's show them what happens when you mess with the wrong people. Her hands shook as she scrolled. The video had over 200,000 views in just 2 hours. The comment section was exploding with outrage. Then another notification. Appeared a live stream. She clicked on it. It was from someone standing outside the diner. Camera shook slightly as the person spoke. "You're not going to believe this. There are hundreds of bikers pulling up right now. This is insane." Camera panned, and Emily's breath caught. The entire parking lot of the diner was filled with motorcycles. More than 500 bikers, all dressed in leather jackets, some with matching patches. And right in front of them, standing tall, was Gus. Emily's phone buzzed again, an unknown number. She hesitated, then answered, "Hello?" A deep voice on the other end, calm and steady. "Emily." She swallowed. The voice paused. "We've got your back." Her stomach flipped. "Who is this?" The man chuckled. "Let's just say you made some new friends today." The call ended. Emily stood frozen, heart racing. What was happening? Emily's hands trembled as she lowered her phone. She could still hear the roar of the motorcycles through the live stream. This was surreal. Hundreds of bikers for her. Her phone buzzed again. This time Lisa was calling. "Emily, are you seeing this? This is insane." Lisa's voice was breathless, full of excitement. "Yes, I'm seeing it," Emily said, pacing her apartment, "but I don't understand." "Why are they there?" Lisa scoffed. "Are you kidding? You stood up for one of their own, and now the entire biker community is standing up for you." Emily sat down, trying to process everything: the video, the outrage, the bikers. All of it had happened so quickly. A new message popped up from an unknown number. "Come to the diner." She hesitated. Should she go? Her stomach churned at the thought of facing her former boss, but curiosity gnawed at her. She grabbed her keys and rushed out the door. As she pulled up near the diner, her breath caught. The parking lot was completely packed. Rows of motorcycles lined the street. Bikers stood in groups, talking in low voices. Their leather jackets gleamed under the streetlights. Some had their arms crossed, others were on their phones, but they all looked serious. Emily parked a block away and walked toward the diner, her heart hammering. People noticed her immediately. Heads turned, conversations hushed, and then someone clapped. Then another, and another. Within seconds, the entire crowd was cheering, whistling, applauding, calling her name. Emily felt her face flush. She had never had this kind of attention before. She spotted Gus standing near the front of the crowd. He was smiling. She approached him, still feeling dazed. "What is happening?" she asked. Gus chuckled. "What's happening is that you stood up for me, and now they're standing up for you." Before Emily could respond, a deep, gravelly voice spoke up behind her. "This her?" She turned and saw a massive man with a thick beard, wearing a leather vest. Covered in patches, his presence alone was intimidating, but there was kindness in his eyes. Gus nodded. "Yep, this is Emily." The man extended a hand. "Name's Bear, president of the Iron Legacy MC." Emily shook his hand, still overwhelmed. Nice to meet you." Bear smirked. "You got guts, kid. Not many people would have done what you did." Emily glanced around. "I didn't expect all of this." Bear's face darkened. "Well, your boss messed with the wrong people." Before she could ask what he meant, the diner door swung open and Mr. Reynolds, her former manager, stepped outside. His face was pale. He looked at the sea of bikers, then at Emily. Bear's voice boomed. "Is this the guy who fired you?" Emily swallowed hard. "Yes." The crowd murmured angrily. Reynolds held up his hands. "Look, I didn't mean Bear." Stepped forward. "You meant exactly what you did. You fired her for protecting one of our own. You let those kids harass an old man because they're parents. Spend money here." He gestured to the bikers. "Well, guess what? We've got money too. And we're making sure no one eats here again." Reynolds' eyes widened. "Wait, Bear wasn't finished. Hundreds of us. Thousands across the country? You think this is bad? Wait until every biker in America knows what you did." The color drained from Reynolds' face. "Please, I can fix this." Gus stepped beside Bear, his voice calm but firm. "Then fix it." Reynolds swallowed hard. He turned to Emily. "If I give you your job back, will you stop this?" Emily blinked. "Are you serious?" "Yes." "You can have your job back. A raise even." Reynolds pleaded. Emily stared at him, then at Gus, then at the crowd of bikers who had come here for her. A slow realization settled in. She didn't need this job. She had power now. She lifted her chin and said no. Reynolds' face fell. "What?" Emily crossed her arms. "I don't want your job. I want an apology to Gus." Publicly. Reynolds hesitated, but when he saw the way Bear and the others were glaring at him, he knew he had no choice. turned to Gus. I'm sorry for what happened today. It was wrong. The bikers murmured in approval. Emily wasn't done. And you're going to make sure those kids never set foot in this diner again? Reynolds nodded quickly. Of course, yes. Absolutely. Bear smirked. Good choice. Emily felt a strange sense of triumph. As she turned to Gus, ready to go, he smiled. Yeah, kid. Let's get out of here. As they walked away, the bikers cheered. Emily knew her life had just changed forever. And she had no idea what was coming next. Emily stood among the roaring bikers, feeling something she had never felt before. Power. Not the kind that came from a job title or money, but the kind that came from respect. She had stood up for Gus. And now, an entire community had her back. Gus patted her shoulder. You did good, kid. Bear smirked. More than good. You made a statement. He turned to the crowd and raised his hand, silencing them.
All right, we've made our point.
No one is eating at this place again. They don't respect one of us. They don't get our business. A wave of agreement rippled through the crowd. Several bikers removed their helmets, shaking their heads at the diner like it was a lost cause. Emily glanced at Mr. Reynolds, who stood frozen in the doorway, his face still pale. His diner had just been blacklisted by a community he never even realized had this much influence. Hey, Emily. She turned to see Lisa rushing toward her, phone still in hand. You're officially famous. Your story is trending on Twitter, celebrities are sharing it, and oh my God, businesses are offering you jobs in the comments. Lisa thrust her phone in front of Emily's face. Sure enough, her notifications were out of control. Messages flooded in from restaurants, coffee shops, even a few law firms offering her a receptionist position. Someone hired this girl. We need more Emilys in the world. One post read. Before she could react, another message popped up, this time, from an unknown number. Call me when you have a minute. I have a job offer that might be perfect for you. Emily hesitated. Who is this? She muttered. Lisa grabbed the phone. Only one way to find out. She pressed the call button and put it on speaker. After a few rings, a smooth, confident voice answered. Emily? Glad you called? Who is this? Emily asked. My name is Sam Carter. I run a security firm. We protect high-profile client celebrities, executives. We saw what you did today, and we could use someone like you. Someone with a spine. Someone who doesn't back down. Emily's breath caught. Are you offering me a job? Sam chuckled. I'm offering you a career. Come in for an interview. We'll talk. Emily stared at Lisa, who was practically vibrating with excitement. Gus smiled proudly. She had walked into work that morning, expecting just another day. She was jobless, famous, and possibly about to step into an entirely new world. Her life would never be the same. And for the first time in a long time, she was perfectly okay with that.